Good morning to everybody. With my presentation, I will give you some input about ISPRA and the Marine Strategy Framework Directive. The directive, as you know, came into force in 2008. And the main objective of the directive is to achieve or maintain good environmental status by the year 2020. And for the directive, the good environmental status means everything in the environmental status considering structure, functions, process of the ecosystem, but also the human impact. And this is the use of this directive. So there is the use of marine environment is at a level that is sustainable. The spatial scale of the directive is very wide because this the ready application arrive until 200 nautical miles, and you can understand how this directive is ambitious. You can understand how many data we'll receive from this directive. These are the steps of National Marine Strategy development. You see in yellow what we have done. All member states now have done the initial assessment or the analysis of characteristic, pressure, impact, and also the economic and social analysis. Second step was to determine the good environmental status. What does it mean good for the environmental status? And then establish the environmental target to achieve this good environmental status. In orange and green, we have the second step, the monitoring program and the program of measure. This directive is a directive with the concept of adaptive management with the regular review. Every 6 years, we'll review this directive. So if we have adjust something, you can do that. The initial assessment, you see all these elements are a lot. You see physical feature, habitats, species, ecosystem, pressures like physical damage, marine litter, and so on. All member states elaborate the data available and cover all these elements to assess. And then they determine the good environmental status through 11 descriptors that the European Commission requested and the indicators associated to these descriptors. You see 56 indicators are a lot. And so a lot the indicators are a lot also the data connected with these indicators. The member states, of course, selected the indicators they consider more effectiveness. How to notify all these information to the European Commission? Through the reporting sheets. These reporting sheets, so the same format that all member states follow, were developed by a specific working group DITE, a working group on data information knowledge exchange. And all these reporting sheets were submitted electronically to the European Commission. These are the reporting sheets. You see are 24 reporting sheets and cover all the elements I showed you before. Where are we now? At the moment, all member states submitted the reporting sheets, and this first phase was in April 2013. And all member states submitted not only the reporting sheets, but also the supporting documents, all cartographic data and data set connected to the reporting sheets. The supporting documents, the aim of this supporting document is to support the information all member states put into the reporting sheets. And you see now all this information are inside the ReportNet, a repository managed by the European Commission and European Environmental Agency. Then in the second step, all this information will download in WAS Marine. But at the moment, the European Commission is assessing this reporting. And the first result is there is a high variability of approach and there's no EU-wide harmonization. And this is a problem also we'll see for the connection between ISPRA and marine strategy. So let's try to understand which is the relationship between ISPRA and the Marine Strategy Framework Directive. There is an Article 19 that sets out the requirements for member states to be ISPRA compliant in relation of the data information for the initial assessment and for the next monitoring program. What does it mean, ISPRA compliant? It's not easy to answer to this question because there is at present very little understanding of what these requirements mean in practice. These are the themes of ISPRA, and you can see in red, which are connected with marine relevance, and there are 16 of the 34 data themes covered by ISPRA that are relevant to different marine coastal management. So we can understand very well that ISPRA is an important tool for the marine data. I will give you some example of this linking between marine strategy and ISPRA. In this slide, you can see this table, and this table is the main metadata standards expected to be utilized by member states during the Marine Strategy Framework Directive. And in red, there is underlined the ISPRA metadata standards. Another example of link is about the reporting spatial data. All member states had to produce standard mapping to ISPRA profile. And this procedure for the spatialization had to be in grid format, and this grid format had to be in ISPRA guideline in geographical grid system. But the results are not so good because only few data sets ISPRA metadata standard compliant, and few cartographic data were in grid format, so in ISPRA compliant. So we understood now in the first phase that the ISPRA and the directive reporting requirements at the moment are a little bit far, and so we have to reduce this distance. Why are so far? First, because the ISPRA data standards are of general nature and need to be filled more specific content. And secondly, not all orders of data, like administration, university, institute of research, follow ISPRA rules. So it's important the sharing of this the directive. There is a need to explore and raise awareness regarding the implementation of ISPRA on marine data. How to reduce this distance? This is just a suggestion coming from the European agency at the moment, the possibility to establish an exercise to implement ISPRA for a few selected marine data sets. How to do that? Provide common data sets relevant not only for the marine strategy, but also for the other directives of water framework and, for example, habitat directive covered by ISPRA data specification. For example, chlorophyll, nutrients, hazardous substances, habitat, and so on. Then, developing a new marine data sets with more detailed ISPRA standards. And then developing and implementing an ISPRA compliant data model guidelines for the specific data set selected. And then sharing, of course, the ISPRA compliant data set usage. What will ISPRA bring to marine data, and what do member states need to do to gain from it? ISPRAs, of course, have to update and extend more detailed standards for marine data. And member states have to establish effective and efficient data management mechanism which allow ready access to the data, because now it's not so easy. Who should do this exercise or project? I just put some name. Member state thematic expert from, of course, member state covering all marine regions. Member states inspired experts coming from the same member states. Expert from the European agency, the inspired thematic working group. Ederson adds also some members of ENERNET, SINADANET project or GMS. I know it's not easy, but it's important that to reduce this distance between the two directives, and so with marine data ISPRA, it's important to start with an exercise and to reproduce the exercise and share this exercise and try to communicate this exercise not only to the research institute but also into the administration. Thank you very much for your attention.